I recorded 100 podcast panel episodes in 90 days, and I want to share with you something that I learned from it. If you don't know me, my name is Niiamah Ashong. I am the founder of the business Outliers Edge and the movement that's associated with it. And I also run a podcast called the Outliers Edge podcast. And starting in September of 2024, I went out and made it a point to bring people into podcast panels where we'd have up to 6 people at a time, all on the same episode here, 6 strangers come really going through a process with one another. One of the things that I learned through this element here is really just the component of that what I think something will be and what it ends up being at the end of the day might be very different. If I'm being really honest and transparent, I thought about the reason I took this on was that for the last year I had been really going underneath the impression of what has been working in my business was podcasts. It would lead to new content, new client opportunities, and new clients ultimately. And so I decided I was going to use this to go and build my business, and I still do. But one of the as time went on, September marked the beginning of a really important transition because I had started in March of 2024 saying I'm going to be serious about using podcasts to grow my business, specifically to bring in clients and to grow from that perspective. And what I found was that I was able to fill up my calendar, but there were a lot of people who were everything I was doing was on a one-on-one basis. And so by September, I had started out moving into a space where I was able to. I realized I'm like my calendar can invite people in and see what happens from there, and have to learn a new process for this podcast panel. Well, over the 100 episodes, we've had. I would say on average we have about 3 or 4 people who show up for each panel that comes in. I haven't done the stats on it specifically; that will come in at a later time. But what I thought I was doing was getting a whole bunch of people into my world, into my funnels, and like just being able to start and bring them into my community from there. But what I got was that like community was being created every single time we came together. Like I was bringing in people who were in otherwise didn't know each other, and didn't and like were feeling some isolation in the work that they were doing, and giving them a chance to be seen, celebrated, and valued for who they were, while creating something valuable for all the outliers that were listening to it. And after a while, this thing started to take a life of its own from there. It became something more than just like a way to get clients. And instead, each and every individual episode became an opportunity for the people in that episode to come together and grow. So when I look at this year, I take that in to heart, and I'm excited to see what we use to build that in for the next 100 days.